excited today. Oh my goodness. Let me see what's going on around here. Hey everyone, let me come over to the comments. Oh, hey April. All right, we have a new member in the house. Hello, April. Welcome to the family. And I have some great news for you today. So welcome. Let's see who else is joining us. Hey, Dana and Janlyn, the real brokerage. Hey, Janlyn and Jeremy here. Hey, Jeremy, stay with me today. I got some great news I'm going to be sharing in just a minute. All right, let's see who else is in the house. Hey, Monica. Oh, my goodness. I hadn't seen you in such a long time. Hey. Oh, look at that beautiful smiley face. Oh, my goodness. Love you so much. All right, you guys, are there any more hellos? I know it takes YouTube a minute to let everyone know that we are in the house. So let's just go ahead and get out some housekeeping. Wait a minute, we got somebody else popping in. Hey, my sister from Philly. All right, that's what she sees. She's called Philly Mama Bear. Hey, how are you? Lady Madison. All right, popping in. Let me see if we got anybody else, because I know they're just now getting a little message out that Dr. Sherry is live. Okay, so let me just start. You guys, I am so excited today. So much has gone on this week. Remember, I told you that we were going to have a week of turnover where all of a sudden everything and anything was going to start happening. That is exactly what took place this week right here. If you are status corrected, your life has changed forever. Now, those that are joining or those that are listening in after this has gone live, you're coming back through the recording. You can't play around with this now because evidence is everywhere. So I have a ton of notes I'm going to share with you. So I'm going to take my time today. This is going to be a long one. So I hope you have your favorite juice, your water, your coffee, your tea, your whatever, your cocktail, because we're going to need you to buckle down and get your notes. Okay. I hope you have a notepad and notes, because I'm going to be giving you a lot of notes today. Okay. First and foremost, I told y'all it was coming. This is not my big announcement. I do have a big announcement coming, and that's not here yet, but this is a big announcement. We have a new show that's debuting next Friday right here on YouTube called The Case Watch Show. Now, I've been toiling, trying to figure out how to begin to help those that's in the school and to help those that's in the masses. And for those that don't know, we have assisted many at this point, assisting them from the pro se standpoint to go in and help with foreclosures, go in and help with eviction, go in and help with child custody, go in and help with, filing federal court cases. We have done the doggone thing. Okay. We teach you, especially if you're status corrected, we don't use bar attorneys at all. Hey, CJ Flash. Okay. Because we have learned who they are and we know who we are. But we have taught you to go in and dominate, okay? And so it's all about educating yourself. So next Friday, right after the Private Life show, we have the new show called Case Watch. And you are going to love Case Watch. I promise you, if you have been one that is trying to get a handle on Bank of America, you might be behind in your car payment. You might know someone who, had a car repossessed, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever the situation is, you might be dealing with IRS situation. It doesn't matter. Anything commercial, anything involving their fiat, their money, we can handle it for you. Let's see who else is coming in. Hey, Miss Francis in the house. Hey, Kelly, Grand Rising. This is another one of our members. You all can tell the members because they have that special signage by their green, and they have that little signage right there. So, hey, Kelly, welcome. All right. So Case Watch will start next Friday, right after the Private Life show. The Private Life show is at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Case Watch will come on at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to give the people on the West Coast chance to listen, to wake up. Now, when we're on live doing Case Watch, And I get to some parts that I don't want to talk about, because some parts I'm not going to talk about on this platform live. And y'all already know why. Okay. Because some of the stuff, it goes very, very deep. Okay. And some of the information that we share, it needs to be protected. It needs to be implemented, but it needs to be protected. It needs to be implemented correctly. Okay. Especially even down to traffic tickets. Y'all know my story on how I got I got everything taken care of. Okay. So what we don't finish out here on this platform, you have to be in the school to hear the part 2 of Case Watch. And that's probably going to happen a lot of times. All right. I'm not charging for Case Watch. I've been going back and forth. Should I charge? But I am going to expect you all to exchange energies with me and provide donations, just like you can do right now. All right. So if you'll see the scrolling bar right there, remember I told you I had to learn how to receive, and some people need to learn how to give. It's an exchange of energy. Right now, we're dealing with their Federal Reserve notes. So I'm here and bless. Okay, bless me, because I'm blessing you. It's an exchange of energy. You have to learn how to sow in good soil. All right. So when you sow in good soil, what do you receive? You receive a return. Just like when you plant your seeds in good soil, your return is fruit. So we're going to have an exchange of energy, because it's just, I had to really think about that thing, because it takes a lot to use people. It takes a lot to not give to people who you see are worthy of what you're receiving. All right. So we got to begin to change our minds, our hearts, and our spirits. When I was in the school, I posted something in the school this week, and I told everyone that are already receiving the deposits from Global Bank, which is several in our school that are receiving deposits now, because I started that school almost a year. A year is it about a year and a half? No. Yeah. Is it a year and a half now? I can't remember when I began the school. It's been a long time, or is it going to be a year? I can't remember. It's close to a year, a little over a year. But anyway, when we began a school, the whole purpose of starting a school was to show people how to get status corrected, how to get your global account up and running, and how to start receiving that $5,280 monthly. All right. So several in our school are receiving those monthly deposits now. Now, I put in the school this week for those that already have received your deposits, when the bank turns on, and I have a major bank update coming, When that bank turns on, okay, you know that $5,280 American Federation dollar is now going to be in fiat, which is Federal Reserve notes, over $1 million. Okay. So what I'm trying to teach everybody is those that are status corrected but aren't receiving deposits yet, for us to help them clear out all debts, clear out all situations that they're dealing with. Now, we have several remedies right now. Some I want to talk about today, whereas you'll be able to start with some of these remedies, but you guys, you got to be status corrected. Okay, let me see who's going on. Give me a second. Good afternoon. Hey, how are you, Kimberly? Hi. All right, CJ for yes, it does, and you are worthy. Thank you so much. Talking about that giving and receiving. Hello, Miss Deborah. Okay. All right. It's been a year. Okay, thank you, Miss. I can't remember how long it's been. I thought it's been a year I started the school. All right, but y'all know I've been in this since 2009, so don't get this twisted. I started the school a year ago, but I've been learning this information and been actively in this information since the year 2009. So I know it like the back of my hand. All right. Okay. So just another few little housekeeping, and then we're going to keep going into what's happening on the scene this week. Follow me everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Okay, please, 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 because it helps. If you would right now, give it a thumbs up, because you'll find every time y'all give it a thumbs up to the live, it pushes it out a little further. So if you would right now, please give it a thumbs up. Y'all, it takes you 1 second. Just go over there, click the thumbs up for me, and then it pushes it out. Okay, do me that favor. Remember, I told you it's about receiving and exchanging energies. Okay, so the only thing I'm asking you to do is just hit the thumbs up so that it'll push it out a little further. All right. So we handled all of that. I told you I do have a major bank update in a few minutes. Thank you to those last week that gave to donations. I thank you so much. Okay, now for those that are joining for the first time, Um, hey April, how are you? Yes, giving and caring. That's right. And thank you. Yes, give a thumbs up here, but also give it to the live, you guys. Go to the live and you'll see and just hit the thumbs up. All right. So now for those who don't really know anything about this, I'm going to give you just a little bit, because I have a lot of updates that I have to share, but some people might be listening to this for the first time and they are clueless to what I'm talking about. And I'm going to give it to you in just a couple sentences. I'm not going to waste a lot of time with this, because if you're new here, let me urge you to go back to the Private Life Show, and I want you to start at number 1. Okay, that's why I came here, because I knew a lot of people, especially when the bank was about to pop off, I knew people were going to start coming from everywhere. Go to number 1, take your time, and start listening and learning, okay? So you'll see how everything began to materialize in real time. Now, also, don't forget, over on TikTok, you guys, I'm there on Tuesdays. I wasn't here this past Tuesday. I told y'all sometime when I'm traveling or what have you, it's hard for me. But on Tuesdays, I'm doing the Secret Life Show over there. And those are secrets. Those are secrets that we're dealing with in life, and secrets that they don't want us to know. Okay, so I'm taking just 1 or 2 at a time, and we're massaging. And I already unveiled one secret over there. And so I want you to go over there and then go to my link bio, link.bio/I am Dr. Sherry. Scroll down to TikTok Tuesdays and pull that PDF and start doing it. Okay, that's all I'm saying for that. Now, just a little blurb about who we are. When you are birthed, when you are born, we are not birthed, we're born. When you are born, okay, we don't focus in on the time you came out of your mother's womb. We focus on the time that you're in your mother's womb, when it's you, your mother, and the creator, okay? All in alignment. This is when the creator is actually downloading your gifts, downloading your purpose, downloading who you are. You come out already with power that has been granted to you. Now, I say this all the time. If you're just learning out of the King James Bible, you're not learning. Okay. Do y'all know they have books at the Vatican that you have to go to the Vatican to read? Do you understand that? Do you understand that they took all of that information from all the different books that have been hidden secret all over the world, and they pulled from that to create these different religions here in America? Christianity, Islam, Buddha, all of those things were created by Caucasian men, and people don't know that. If they know, y'all don't even realize, and I know sometimes, especially with Islam, you see the melanated in front of Islam, but Islam was created by a Caucasian man, okay? Christianity, a Caucasian man, okay? And you can track it back. This is not hidden information. So you have to begin to understand that, okay, that religion was weaponized against you. So first of all, you have to go all the way back to when you were in your mother's womb. When you were in your mother's womb, you were already given everything that you needed. You were given your gifts, and you were given unalienable rights that can never be taken from you. Everything that happens, you have to voluntarily give it up. Okay. And so you have to understand that you literally voluntarily give up your rights. Hi, Dr. Sherry, Jennifer in Florida. Hey, my friend. Oh my goodness. Hey, okay, there's Jeremy. Okay, Jeremy, just stay tight right there. If I forget, just pipe back in, because I need to say something that about Case Watch with you. All right. So let me go back. So that's why we focus in on that time that you're in that gestational period in your mother's womb, because that's when everything was given to you. So when you are born into the world, you come in with all of the powers, all of the gifts, everything you need. You don't have to pay for anything. It's already given to you. It's already given to you. Money doesn't even exist. You don't even have to understand. It's like I taught people in the school. They tricked your mind to put a value on what $1 is. They tricked your mind to put a value on what $100 is. If you're in a desert, okay, and there's nothing there but water and $100,000, what value is that money to you? No, you're going with the essential, which is the water. So again, it's all been a brainwashing on your mind on what is value and what is not. Okay. And so this is where it goes back to understanding who you are. When you understand who you are, okay, you understand what the value is. You understand what the true money is. You are the money. You are the value. You are the worth, not what someone has told you. Okay. And so now when you get into the understanding of who you are, and you know that you are born and not birthed, there is a difference. At your born day, not birthday, at your born day, something wicked happened. Okay, I'm not gonna get all in this because y'all know I do the monthly orientations where I break all this stuff down. I have receipts. I show you things that have been paid just for me being able to endorse stuff. I've already shown you all this. We ain't got to prove nothing to anybody. Okay, in the beginning, we were trying to prove and convince you guys. I'm past that now. Either you're gonna get it or you're not. Okay. Now, so when you get to the point of understanding what happened at that very moment that that birth certificate was created, that's understanding that it is not you. Okay. We're not certificated. We're not licensed. We're not any of those things. We are natural men and natural women who are the money, who are the power. Okay. Of our unalienable and unalienable rights that's been given to us by our Creator. And even in their King James version of the Bible, and even in their Quran, and even in all of their books that they use, it tells you who we are. Okay. So when you look at Genesis 1:26-28, it already tells you that we have dominion over the land. So they know who we are. In their public notice 97-208, they tell you who we are. When Ronald Reagan declared 1983 to be the year of the Bible, okay, and that everything that's in their Bible is factual and true, they tell you who we are. We could use those Bibles and those scriptures, and we have used them and went into court cases and beat it just on those scriptures. Okay, it's how you present the information. So you have to stand, walk, and live in your authority. So that's what brings me to this next stage of understanding that there is a step that has to happen in order for you to separate yourself back out. Because what happens is that you're brainwashed to think you are that birth certificate entity. And what has happened is that your identity has been stolen. And it was stolen from you when you were born. Soon as you were born, they created this birth certificate that took all of your identity. It took the name that was given to you by your mother, by your father. It took how much you weighed. It took how long you were. It took the color of your eyes. It took your hair color. It took everything. And it duplicated it into a birth certificate. Okay? So when that happened, you no longer lived your life here because your parents voluntarily, and on the birth certificate application, it says they are the informant. Do you know what an informant is? You know why they call it an informant? Because it was a crime that was taking place. And you have to begin to understand that it was an actual crime. That's the only time you hear informant, which is a snitch. Okay. And so everything they do, they have to tell you. This is a system that is voluntary, you guys. You have to understand it was voluntary. Okay. You have to volunteer. It's like gotta love her. YouTube, Deja. But you have to understand this system right here, it cannot operate unless you volunteer. Okay. Because they know that it's part of the law of nature that they have to tell you. Because what they'll say is that, well, we told them and they volunteered. They didn't stand on their own. And that's why they have to tell. That's why they told you in the Wizard of Oz. Not going to go through that. But if you sat through my orientation, you understand that the Wizard of Oz was them telling you who you are, who they are. And that's why they knew that everybody was going to be afraid. And that's why they had the lion that needed courage. Okay? Because they knew you would be afraid that if you learned the truth, you would stand. Okay. So now that brings me to understanding why you have to status correct, because they took your status from you and you began to live your life with this birth certificate entity and being the natural man or the natural woman, and you began to live the life as one. Okay. And when you do that, you came under the authority as something called a U.S. citizen. All right. Under British rule. That's what you needed to understand. You need to understand that that birth certificate is under the authority of the United States of America, Inc. It's a business. It's a corporation. It is not land. So, and when I've been watching on the news all week with this shutdown, and we're going to get to that in just a second, I'm going to transition into that, and I'm going to go ahead and handle the stuff with Jeremy too. But with this shutdown, they literally have been telling you on the news. They literally have been talking about the services of the American people. But what you're thinking the United States of America is a place. It's not a place, you guys. It's a corporation. It's a business. The land, when you come out of your house and you step on the land, when you come out your house and you step on land, the land is America. Okay? It is, when you were in school, you had American history and you had U.S. history. Did you ever ask yourself, why am I having to learn? I remember questioning that when I was in high school. I remember saying to myself, why am I having to learn American history and U.S. history? I couldn't even understand. It didn't make sense to me because I don't know why, but I just glanced over it. Excuse me. Let me make sure. I thought okay, I'm sorry. One of my babies popped in. Y'all know I don't play what comes to my babies. Everything stops when it comes to them poor little girls, even though they're big little girls now, but everything has to stop. All right, so let me get back to y'all. Everything is fine. All right. So now understanding what has happened with the birth certificate, you living as one onto the water. Okay, that's why everything is a ship. Friendship, entrepreneurship. You have to go to the car to get the dealer. Go to the dealership. You can't even have a what they call it, a union. What they call when you? Why am I forgetting that one? What's the relationship? I don't know. I had a mind freeze for a minute. Brain freeze. Relationship. Everything that happens, you have to get on a ship. Okay. And why this is because there are 3 different jurisdictions. But let me pause right here. Let's put a pin in it because I want to make sure you have an understanding that when you begin to live your life as that entity through that birth certificate, we have to correct that. Okay. And we got to bring you back separate. So what happens now when we do the correction that even though you got the SSN number, even though you began to live your life as the birth certificate person, even though you got all these certificates and all of these licenses and you came under this umbrella, now that you know who you are, we got to correct you back out. And so that's the purpose of the paperwork. And now let's talk about this for a minute because this is very, very important because this paperwork being completed is your life and people are afraid of it. I have no earthly understanding why people are afraid of paper. So this is something you have to deal with within yourself. This is something you have to begin to ask yourself. If you don't know who you are, nobody can help that. Nobody can help you with that but you. No one. You have to know who you are. And y'all have heard me say this over and over and over again on my Facebook, when I'm in the school. If you don't know who you are, I can't help you with that. This is something going on in your mind. You have to ask yourself, am I a victim of cognitive dissonance, which is a disease, whereas the truth can be right in your face and you're still so afraid that you gravitate to what you're used to? That's a sickness. And there's also another one called Stockholm Syndrome, where it's a sickness to hear the truth and know the truth, and you go back to the point of being a slave, because that's what a U.S. is. It's a slave to their system. You have to know who you are. No need to be afraid. Be afraid of not getting status corrected. That's right. And now, you know what, Jeremy? Let me put a pin in. I've been waiting to decide how I was going to roll out our court channel. It's not going to be a channel. It's going to be a playlist, but our show, okay, dealing with courts information. And Jeremy, I'm asking you now to be my first guest next Friday. You guys, when I tell you, when Jeremy first came on board with us, it was a lot going on. And I'm not going to give too much of his story, but I'm just going to tell you right now, it was a lot going on to the point it put pains in my stomach. I thought I had a rough story. And really, I think our stories are probably like neck and neck because both of them were bad. And I think Jeremy's was a little worse though. It was a little worse, yeah, because he actually had some stuff really, really, really happen. But Jeremy, let me know if you can, okay? Because I need them to hear your story and I need to know where you are today. Okay, because when I tell you guys, when you stand flat-footed, and we call it standing on your square, you guys, I'm telling you, I have been in courtrooms when judges have been afraid to look me in my eye. And I'm trying to tell you, it works. When you go in there and you let them know who you are, and you're not playing any games with them, they will stand down. They will stand down. Do you hear me? And I don't care any situation you're dealing with. So some of you might be saying, well, I don't have any situations in my life. Everything's good. If you're paying property tax, you have a situation. If you're paying a mortgage, you have a situation. Okay? If you're paying IRS, something that doesn't even exist anymore, you have a situation because you don't know who you are. That is your situation. Okay? So, Jeremy, you let me know. Give me heads up on that if you can. And we're going to have you on next Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, you guys, everybody giving the shout outs, the hallelujahs. Well, good, because I've learned a lot and want to share. Okay, well, there you go. Jeremy will be on next week. Dr. Sherry, will you get my 150 for? Well, you get mine. Well, if you send it to the team, I'm sure they'll get it, Miss Deborah. Okay, and let me see what else is going on. Okay, you guys. Now, so I talked about the status correction. I talked about needing your paperwork completed. And guys, let me just tell you this. You can do this paperwork yourself. Okay, I really need to stress this because it's getting to the point, and I told y'all in the school this was going to happen. I told y'all this was going to happen. I said, once everything starts to materialize, people are going to be flooding us. Okay, you can do the paperwork yourself. It's at, I'm going to give it to you right now, tasa.americanstatenational.org, tasa.americanstatenational.org. Okay, just go up to the scroll bar, and I forgot what it says at the top. It might say status correction. You can do the paperwork yourself. Okay, now, if you need someone to do it for you, and I do understand that too, because even though I looked at it, I was still afraid to do it myself. I was afraid. We do have a team in place to assist you in doing your paperwork for you if you need those services. Okay. And there are several there are several people out. I think it's like two that I know of that will assist you in doing the paperwork for those that don't have the time, or those that just simply don't want to do those services are in place. But we need to, and also be careful, you guys. It is free to actually become status corrected. That they don't charge you for that. I have seen people that are charging, and I was a victim of that too. People trying to charge me $1,500, $3,000, $5,000 to be status corrected. There are people. South Africa is just getting going with their system, and there was a man charging people $2,000 to be status corrected, and they had to clamp down on him. Okay, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Status correction is free. Now, if you need the service of doing the paperwork for you because you just don't have the time or you don't want to, that's different. But status correction is free. So I needed to make sure that is very, very clear as well. All right, wonderful. When you come with clean hands, results happen. Congratulations, Jeremy. First meeting. Yeah, Jeremy showed out. Jeremy showed out. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go in depth with this story next week at Case Watch. All right. So let me keep going. So you need to do the status correction. So you just separate back out again. And what happens now is that when you separate back out, okay, and some people never separate because some children, some offspring never get a birth certificate. Some parents say absolutely not. But what we have found is that you should get the birth certificate. Because the birth certificate, the actual document, is money. It's on bond paper. It's worth something. So when you separate out, what happens is that now you own everything. You own everything that comes off of that birth certificate entity. You own it all. You navigate how it moves. That's why we tell you to get a trust, because so the natural man and the natural woman doesn't have to enter into this space anymore. I'm trying to do it with my hand. This is the natural man and natural woman. This is the birth certificate entity. You've been living as one. We have to separate you back out. Okay, we status correct you back out. And then what happens is that we tell you to get a trust, because now the trust works as a bridge between the two. Does that help you guys? That was a good analogy one. That's why I'm a national award-winning teacher. Okay. Y'all see how I just did that? The trust works as a bridge. So you go over the bridge when you want and you come back. Was that good? I love that analogy. Is Case Watch in the classroom? Case Watch is on YouTube, Kelly. It's on YouTube live. And if we have to have extended conversations, I'm taking it into the school via Zoom. Yolanda, thank you. Yes, the clean hands doctrine is old as dirt, but a great tool. There you go. Great analogy. Okay, CJ, thank you. All right. So now I talked about that. Let me give you an update about Anna. So for those that don't know who Anna is, when let me see, where do I start this story? Anna was married to a man named James Belcher Clinton. Okay. And his mother had this very important, this is true story, had a very important suitcase that she carried with her all of her life everywhere. But no one really knew the contents of the suitcase. They just knew it was very important papers in there, but they really didn't care. Okay. And so upon his mother's death, and listen, she waited upon her death to tell her son that he was granted, he was going to be granted everything in that suitcase, which was making him and declaring him the head of state of America. Okay. Now let me pause here, because this is where I always have to pause, you guys. I always got to pause and make sure you are very clear. Remember, I told you have to know who you are. So let's be very, very clear. The information that that her husband James received only took him back about 160 years. Okay, let's be very, very clear. You understand what I just said? Only takes him back 160 years. Hey, Kelly, thank you. You're okay. All right. We know that our history goes back thousands of years. And let's be very, very clear. And that's why I tell you guys, you got to go to YouTube and watch something called My Lunch Break. When you watch My Lunch Break, this man literally just starts asking questions during his lunch. He literally just starts asking questions. Why is this like that? Why is that building like that? Where did this come from? And it turned into a full-fledged series where he begins to uncover who we are just from looking at buildings in different locations. Now, if you go to My Lunch Break, I tell you the same way I tell you with the Private Life show, start at number one. Start at number one. And it's going to be so much you're going to want to go to, but I'm telling you now, you have to start at number one, because you have to see how this man on his lunch break starts to ask these questions and what comes out of this. Okay. So let's be very, very clear. Our history goes way back. I tell you all the time, we already had cars and stuff and airplanes and things flying in the air. We already had, or was using the sun for our electricity and all of that. But none of this stuff is new. Okay, it's just that they try to strip us of our knowledge. Okay, so now coming back to understanding where this is with James. So James received notification that he was the head of state of America. Okay, and he had authority to create, to correct the systems that had been put in place. And Anna at the time was, I believe she was a judge in Alaska. They married. She became a judge in America. So she was in, we call it the de facto system. Okay. Our system, which is the true system, is de jure. That U.S. of America system is de facto. So she was working in the de facto system, I believe. Let me double check that, but I believe she was a judge in the de facto system. Okay. Now, as time went on, they had to learn what they had received, okay? And they also had to learn how to implement this, of which they did over the years. And I told you in 2009, just briefly, me trying to help my father live from prostate cancer, that's how I came in contact with Anna, because when I put in the search button, natural living, her information came up. I was talking about for real natural living from the earth, but that came up and I didn't realize at the time. That's how I got into this, simply from trying to save my father's life. I don't have time to dip into that story. Y'all know that I did find a remedy. Y'all know what the doctors did to him. Y'all know my father's no longer with me. Okay, if you need to know that story, go start at number one. And I've talked about it somewhere on one of these shows. So Anyway, over time, they learned that there was a difference between America, U.S. They learned that King Charles, yes, true, King Charles over in Britain somewhere, he really was over the U.S. Of America. Okay, that he runs that. We began to understand that real estate is really royal estate. That when you get real estate, you're just getting paper. You're not even getting the land. Okay, that y'all know when I found that out, because I was a teacher, I had 4 licenses at all. I surrendered everything. I wanted nothing to do with that system. I didn't know how I could literally live day in and day out in a system of real estate and lie to people every day. I was already upset that I was teaching the lies. I was already upset that I had defrauded all of these people, and they pulled me in to do it for them. I couldn't even stomach it anymore. So that's why I decided that, you know what, I'm getting rid of all of this stuff, because I had to get to the point that I believed. I had to begin to get to the point that who I call my creator truly would not have put me in a situation that I did not, like this from his doing, okay, or her doing, whatever you all call it, okay, because everybody's thing is different, all right? I had to get to a point that I trusted who I was, okay? And I did, because I began to believe that, wait a minute, I am the head and not the tail. I am above and not beneath, okay? And I had to begin to implement that. Now, has this been hard? It has been. It has been, because I had to create a whole new life for myself. So for those that know, I created Land and Soil Property Group now, where we teach United States citizens, yes, we still teach them, and we teach those who are status corrected to get property and own the land, truly own the land. We teach you how to buy and sell if you still want to deal with the de facto system and not be beat out of all of these fees that we really don't have to have. Okay. So we began to create a true system of living and a true system of truth. And so now taking it back to James and Anna, so they began to create this system of truth, okay, and understanding. And 2000 and I want to say 13, but I might be wrong with that, but I want to say 2013. I don't know why that's ringing a bell in my mind, but I want to say 2013. It might have been a little later than that. Could have been around 17. Let's just say 2013 to 2017. I can't remember when Pope, what was his name? Pope Benedict. Give me 1 second, you guys. Let me check, and I'll be able to tell you exactly when it is. Give me 1 second. Let me see which one. Yeah, it was Pope Benedict. Okay. So Pope Benedict resigned 2000. It was 2013. I'm telling you. Okay, remember Pope Benedict. This is very important. In 2013. And by the way, Pope Benedict is the only pope that resigned. Go check it. Go check it. So let me tell you what happened in 2000. It could have happened 2012, 2013, somewhere in there. Anna and 900 other people, and of course James too, because James was the head of state. Anna was the fiduciary. Fiduciary means that they're the person that you put in. If for those that have a trust, you know, you put a trustee in place to manage your trust for you. So Anna was the fiduciary for the American people. James was the head of state. So James, Anna, and 900 other people went over and met with Pope Benedict, told them the contents of that suitcase, told them what was going on, told them that it's a separation of government, that is American people, and also there is a U.S. of America, Inc., which is a business. They gave them the information, and they gave them the understanding that the American government hired, this is important right here, because this is going to take me into what happened this week. The American people hired U.S. of America, Inc. just for its essential services. So y'all remember during COVID when the only people that could work were the essential services? This is what they were talking about, okay? This is so important for you to understand this point right here. So you have to understand that there is a There's first of all, there are three constitutions. It's not one constitution. There are actually three constitutions. And above the constitutions is what we call the Declaration of Independence. Independence, sovereign. Okay. So the Declaration of Independence states puts you in your sovereignty, and the constitutions are the employment contracts of the U.S. of America. They work for us, you guys. But only if your status corrected. If you have status corrected back to being the natural man and the natural woman, your authority is higher than the United States Supreme Court. And when I tell people this, they are in disbelief, but we see it happen when we go into these courts, when we tell them to stand down. You work for me, okay? You better know who I am. I have the authority. I'm the only one to have the authority that's standing in this courtroom. You have to know who you are and declare it and not go in fear. All right. When you are status correct, you own all of this stuff now. You own the Social Security number. You own the LLCs. You own all of this stuff. Now this is the thing with the LLCs. You cannot operate in it and status correct because your businesses have to be unincorporated. LLCs and all of that is incorporated. All right. So you still own your businesses, but you own it as an unincorporated entity, which means government can't reach. Okay. There's no government reach. So now these three constitutions are their employment contracts. So when you read the constitutions now, you will read it differently because these are the services that they give to you. Now, let me begin to get you to understand this, that if you don't status correct, in their constitutions, it states that they own you. Okay? They own you as property, and it says it in there. So this is why I say all the time, know who you are. So when you want to take it back 160 years, we can go back further than that. We can go back to the king's prerogative, because the king's prerogative says that any sovereignty that the king has, it is now also given to the people. But if you're not living and working in this, you don't know who you are, and you're constantly in a state of slavery, okay, where you're paying tax after tax after tax, okay, when you're waiting for instructions, when you're voting in their leader, which you don't even vote in the leader. That's another thing. Don't get me going in that. You never vote. Your vote never counts. I don't even know why. And this is just a using things. And that's why I just sit back and I just shake my head. Because I'd be like, these people are going crazy off of who they think they voted for. Who gives a darn? They all work together. Y'all don't know that? The Republicans and the Democrats work together, and it's no such thing. Okay, we live in a republic, but we have nothing to do with any type of parties. They can be whatever group they want to be with. All of them work for us. Okay. And so when you begin to understand this stuff, it really, for me, it made me feel like a fool. That's how it made me feel. That's why I was like, I'm not participating in this mess anymore. Are they crazy? They can sit here and hold up signs and put signs in people's yard all day long and march and all this and Trump and Clinton or whoever. It don't matter. All of them work for us. So why would you subject yourself or whoever the hell they want to put in as their president? Put in whoever you want to. Just make sure all of y'all do what you're supposed to do and provide my services. Okay? All right, so let's keep going. So we know this week. So now let me train. Now give me a thumbs up if you all understand it. And give a thumbs up to the live. For those that have come in, give a thumbs up to the live. Just recap just a little bit. We are breaking down the things that happened this week. We're breaking down who you are. Welcome to those who are on board for the first time today. So now now you have a kind of understanding that when Anna and James, oh no, I didn't finish that story. Anna and James and 900 people went to Pope Benedict, told them what was happening, gave them a rundown of what was and what should be, because you all do know that the Vatican, the U.S. government, and what's the other entity? The financial rulership that happens in London. All of those in the churches, all of them work together, you guys. When you begin to understand that the Catholic Church is over all of the universities, over all the schools, all of these people work together. They work together to keep you in slavery. And so you got to know that, okay? And so when I began to have an understanding that you mean to tell me when you begin to research all of the schools, you guys, it all goes back to these non-families. All of them. Even your HBCUs. Okay, all of them. So you have to understand, and also it goes back into tying into Freemasonry. Now that's where we go to TikTok. That's where I start to talk about that kind of stuff. Okay, how all of this and the symbolisms and how it relates to your body, how it relates to astrology, because they're deep in that. You guys, you got to begin to understand. This is how they rule what they do. They know the moves, and we're not even doing the plays. Okay. All right, so you got to begin to understand. So go to my TikTok so we talk about the little secret life, the secret life show. Okay, over here is the private life show. TikTok is the secret life show. I can get away with that stuff over there. And then come back to YouTube for Case Watch. All right, so we got this thing going now, and go to the school if you really want to get deep. Because in the school, we got over 20-something courses that will help you with videos and everything, you guys. Everything is already, we got tons of videos that you can watch. All right, so going back to when they told Pope Benedict what was going on, do you all know it was so heavy for him when he learned the truth, how they had been operating, how they were operating out of line? He resigned. He is the only Pope that resigned. He wanted no parts. And this leads me to this point. Even though we're having situations that are happening in these courts, and these courts are doing some very evil things. Everybody has someone in their family that has been treated indignant, and has been treated very unfairly, have been treated in a way that really puts them in a state of slavery, puts them in a state of humility, puts them in a state that they shouldn't even be in, being deprived of their rights, right? You have to know how to go in and fight that. And so if you've been put in those type of situations and understanding who you are, it helps you now to get in front of it. And this is why what we're doing and have been doing for a while. I've been doing it since 2009. Okay. But this is why it's so important that it becomes widespread, because when you know who you are, you can make Pope stand down. He wanted no parts. Okay. And so this is the fight that has been happening. So now let's talk about, let me see if I can bring to the stage. Give me a second, because I'm going to go here. And I told you this was going to be a pretty long one today. Let me share my screen. Everybody doing okay? Give me a thumbs up if y'all still with me. Are y'all still with me? All right, let me see. Is it up here? No, it's not. Give me a second. Let me cancel this. Give me 1 second. Let me leave this screen and go over here. Yep. Okay, let me come back to you guys. And let me share. Y'all okay? Give me the thumbs up. Y'all all right? All right. Okay, now share my screen. Share screen. Okay, here we go. All right, so for those that know, Anna, she gives notices every week. So you need to go to AnnaVonRetz.com, and she has done over 55, I think it's 5,555 articles. These are not articles, though. These are actually, we call them international public notices. You guys, what you're looking at, who you're looking at right now, I'm sorry, not what, what you're looking at is her article. But who you're looking at in that corner is Anna Von Retz. She is the fiduciary of the United States, the American people. I got to even be careful about saying people, because people, persons, all of those mean corporations. She is the fiduciary of America. Let me just put it like that. Okay. She's the fiduciary of America. And so when I tell you she is really the head, I know y'all think Trump is the head. No, Trump is underneath her. Okay, let's be very clear. She tells Trump what to do. And this week it has truly happened, because she is telling him what to do and he has responded. Okay. But with Anna, what she does is she puts out these international public notices to everyone around the world. So all heads of state, she's already won in the world court against Trump when they tried to change the name, because U.S. is bankrupt. So every time they go bankrupt, they try to change the name. All right. And so the World Court, when she took them to court, the World Court made them stand down. They're no longer allowed to change the name. And that's why you see them having to cut back everything, you guys. They have no more money. So all of this government shutdown stuff is all a game. What they're trying to do is they have to shut down because they got to cut stuff out. And they don't want the U.S. citizens to know what they're doing because they don't want to come out and tell the truth. And that's why you have to know what's going on behind the scenes. So Anna gives out these notices. She sends out about maybe 5 to 7 a week. I try my best to keep up with them. So this is one that she put out. And I just want you to look at, where is the, give me a second. Let me find, did I have to go down this much? It's one little paragraph I want you to see. Okay, here we go. So come down to, you know how the first one starts, as anyone can see. Come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see that sentence that says they chose peace and simple security for their homes and lands instead. So it stands that we contracted for defense services. Anything else is extracurricular and by definition can't be chalked up on our accounts. Y'all go back and read this, but I wanted to bring out that right there because it shows you right there. Okay, let me come back. Let me stop sharing and let me come back and explain this to you because this is so important, what I just said. This is so important, what I just read, okay? She tells you that we contracted them for defense only. Okay. So she's making it clear and she's telling them, go back to your proper place because the military works for us. Hey, 3 snaps and a round. This episode 54 needs more likes for this. Thank you. Come on. Thank you, my Philly sister. Tell them to give more likes, okay? Because y'all know I'm doing something right now. And don't forget, you can give little donations. Let's have some exchange of energy. Okay, I don't care if it's $5 for me to get a Starbucks coffee. Okay, just exchange some energy with me. All right, so this is going back now. Begin to understand that with what Anna's doing, she's letting them know we contracted with you all from those constitutions to give us defense services only. So that means if we need you to provide us services because someone is doing us wrong, we need y'all to be at our house when I tell you to, and I need you to make sure they stand down. Y'all are there to protect us. Okay. And so if you notice this week, and that's why it was entitled A Briefing on the Quantico Meeting, there was a meeting that happened this week where 800 generals were brought to Quantico. And for those that know, especially in the North, Quantico is in Virginia. I think it's a Marine base. I don't know if it's a Marine base or Army base. I think it's Marine now. Yeah, I think it is Marine base. Okay. But anyway, all of them had a meeting at Quantico. Right there in Virginia, right off of 95. Okay, I travel that all the time when I'm up that way. And Trump told them that we have to get back into our proper place. All right. And so when Trump told them that, there was a summons that he put out. And let me see if I have the summons. Give me a second. I have it. I just got to pull it up. Let me get the summons. I should have had that. Oh, wait a minute. Did I? No, I didn't. Oh, I got my daughter. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to read it. And if you're in the school, I actually posted it there already. But let me read because it's going to take me too long to have to find it and pull it up. So let me read it to you. And then you can go because, you can look at all his things that he types. His is called, this one is called The Declaration of Authority and Summons. This is from Donald Trump. Remember now, they work for us. He says, by the authority vested in the President of the United States for America, the corporation, the business, as Commander-in-Chief under Article 2 of the Constitution, and by the immutable laws of common law sovereignty. Oh, that is huge right there. He said common law sovereignty because our law system is not legal. It's lawful. And our law system comes under the laws of common law. You may also heard it called equity. Okay? That's our system. And y'all don't even know that you're dealing with two separate systems. Okay? The legal system is commerce. We're common law. So when you come into the common law courts, your court cases are not going to last 3, 5, 6 months, 5 years, 2 years. No. All cases are done within a week. They don't play no games, and they will kill you, okay? Because they believe eye for eye, tooth for tooth over there with common law. Common law is much more strict because they expect people to do what they're supposed to do. You know you don't steal. You know you don't kill. You know you don't misbehave to the point you bring hurt or harm to someone's property. And that's the only two laws. Don't bring harm to yourself, your fellow man, and don't bring harm to yourself or your fellow man's property. That's it. That's the only law. Protect yourself and your fellow man. That's it. So if you don't know how to behave outside of that, you should be dealt with. I should be able to keep my car door unlocked and hope that nobody will steal from me. Okay? All right, let me keep going. Then he has it listed for number 1. So already he's saying it is time that we have to come under the common law of sovereignty. We are sovereign. We're not sovereign citizens. There's no such thing. Okay? Sovereign just means free. So here's number 1. He says lawful command under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So when you see the UCMJ, that's what they're talking about. People don't understand the sheriffs of a county is the highest office in that county. Okay, so you got to begin again. You have to understand this stuff. So he says every flag officer of the United States Armed Forces by oath and by law is bound to obey the lawful orders of the commander-in-chief, him. The UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of the Military Justice, affirms that all generals and admirals remain subject to such orders, including the command to assemble. So this is where Trump is telling them, I am giving y'all a command to get y'all asses here. Y'all like that little footnote? Okay, number 2, sovereign right under common law. Remember, sovereign is under common law. So he's saying this sovereign right under common law. From ancient precedent, you see, I keep trying to tell you, our history goes back long before 160 years, 600 years. It goes back before they even created the name Jesus. Y'all do know that was a created name, right? Are we aware of that? Now, I'm not telling you there's not a spiritual higher a force above us. There is definitely a creator, okay? But you have to understand what they've done to brainwash us. From ancient precedent to modern practice, the head of a sovereign republic. That's why I keep trying to tell you, we live in a republic, not no Republican parties and not no Democratic parties, which comes from the word demon. You got to begin to understand. We live in a republic or kingdom. See what I'm trying to tell you? You got to know who you are. Trump is telling you who you are. He's telling you, okay? Or kingdom holds the prerogative. I just told y'all about the king's prerogative. So let me start that over because I'm getting excited just from what he's writing. From ancient precedent to modern practice, the head of sovereign republic or kingdom holds the prerogative to summon his military leaders for counsel, recognition of authority, and the reordering of the nation's defense. This right is both inherent and incontestable. So he's saying, y'all better not say nothing and get y'all butts here. This is what he's saying. Now, this is number 3, summons to assemble. Therefore, by order of His Excellency of the Western Kingdom. Now, stop right there. I need y'all to, this is coming from the president that everybody having a fit. They done voted against. Who cares you voted against or voted for? It doesn't matter. They all work together. They all work together. And they have pictures of them hanging out together, being together. Y'all got to be crazy if you don't think Bush, Obama, Trump, and all of them are not friends, okay? Not. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Okay, here we go. Therefore, by order of His Excellency. Now, why would he say that? Of the Western Kingdom and President of the United States for America. Do y'all already see? He's already telling you King Charles is the head. He just told you in his summons. He said, therefore, by order of His Excellency of the Western Kingdom and President of the United States for America, all flag officers are hereby summoned to Virginia on September 30th, 2025. This assembly shall formally recognize and reaffirm allegiance to the constitutional republic of the United States of America. He said constitutional republic. So he's saying we got to get this together to abide by this constitution, because these people above us aren't playing with our behinds anymore. They're done. Okay, let's keep going. 4, the restoration of sovereignty. This is number 4. I'm going to say it again. This is number 4 of Trump. Here go his little signature right here. Can y'all see his little signature? That's his signature. That's the seal. And I'm on number 4. Great info. Let's keep going. Upon this recognition, all military outposts and operations abroad that were established under British Commonwealth or foreign dominion shall be lawfully closed or transferred, securing America's independence in full. Do y'all know he just said America's independence? That means that we're not doing this anymore. We're going to be recognizing the sovereignty of America. If your status corrected, y'all can stay over there if you want to as a U.S. citizen. Listen, I don't have no words for you anymore. Stay over there, okay? But once you begin to know who you are, and with Trump even telling you who you are, why would you not do your paperwork to status correct back and come off of that birth certificate entity? Get your trust in order. Now, is that going to be needed probably the next couple of weeks if you have a global banking account? Probably not. But some of y'all are starting fresh with this. Some of y'all are in the very beginning of this. Okay, so you have to get your family and your life in order. You have to, or you're going to be subjected to a U.S. citizen under what's his name? King Charles rule. All right, and this is the 5. This is number 5. This order is issued in fulfillment of the president's sacred duty. Sacred. I told you, everything with them is, they know who we are spiritually. They know who we are. They don't want you to know who you are. And that's why this is why my thing is with the churches. This is where my heart is with these churches, because they have done such a great job in keeping us in a state of slavery, having us believe that there's really a heaven and a hell, and we got to pray to somebody for things to come through, and we have to have faith. No, you don't have to have faith. You just got to know. It's not about believing on something anymore. You got to know who you are, and then you manifest. I'm not going to sit here and say, I want this to happen. Oh, please no, I'm going to put things into action to make it happen. It's a difference, you guys. Okay? So the order is issued. So this is the binding duty. The order is issued in fulfillment of the president's sacred duty to uphold the Constitution, their employment contracts, protect the people. What did I tell you? That's our rule, to protect the people and preserve the sovereignty of the republic. We don't have anything to do with the Republican Party, no Democratic Party, all of this BS. All officers are bound by oath, honor, and law to obey. President Donald Trump. Okay? So now this is what I am telling you guys. This is why I'm telling you that it is serious of you understanding who you are. Let me go back to my little pieces of paper, because now you know who you are. Give me a second. I got to send something over to my daughter. Give me 1 second. All right, let me see if y'all have any questions about that while I'm sending this, and y'all can be typing them. And then I'm gonna get to the global bank update, because this is going long today, and I'm tired. I'm getting tired. Sent again. Okay, let's see where you guys are. Is this good information? If so, give us a thumbs up. All right. Okay, give us a thumbs up. So now that tells you about what happened this week with Quantica. Now you're understanding kind of where you are. You're understanding about Pope Benedict. We're understanding. We done went through his summons. You can pull it up yourself. It's not a secret. Okay. So now you can understand that there's a transition that needs to happen in your own life. There's a transition that needs to happen with who you are. Again, everybody remember the church does teach. The church does teach. It's about free will. Now that they taught very well, and it is about free will. But we're no longer going to be teaching. Do y'all know? I have even gone and spoken. I have spoken to churches. I have spoken to a couple churches at this point. And I will do presentations with you of groups that are 10 or more. I'll do that for free. And I've been doing that for over a year. So if you get more than 10 people together and you go to our website, info at New Status, go to info at newstatusnewlife.com. That's our email, info at newstatusnewlife.com. And you have 10 or more people. I will do a presentation with you and answer all the questions. I can listen to you talk all day. Oh, thank you, Kimberly. Okay, because I know it's getting late now. Oh my God, let me keep going. All right, so now we've handled that because I told you I got a lot of stuff on my paper. So understand that where we are now, there is sea to air jurisdiction, which is the birth certificate entity. They literally bring you onto the sea. Everything is about water there. Birth, BIRTH, means water. Okay, all of that is water. That's why you have a bailiff in courts, because if you come past the flood gates, that part right there is a gate. You come past it, then you're in the floodgates. That's why the bailiff has to bail you out of the water if you get in hot water. All of this stuff means something. So if you're in a school, if you go to How to Win in Court, I did a whole presentation about the symbolism of everything in the courtroom, because they know this. Y'all don't know it, but we got to start learning this. Okay, so you'll know how to operate when you're in their commercial courts. So there's sea to air jurisdiction where the U.S. birth certificate entity lives. And then you, the natural man, the natural woman, you live on the land. So your jurisdiction is land to air. So what's been happening is that they pulled you to the sea. You've been living as the birth certificate entity, and you've been going from the sea jurisdiction to air, where we're telling you, get your butt back over here. You are on land. Status correct, so we can now put you in the land jurisdiction, and you'll have the land to air jurisdiction. So that's so important, because when you're in the sea jurisdiction as a U.S. citizen, you are under all of those 80,000 statutes and codes. Y'all do know there aren't any laws, right? There aren't laws. There's called statutes and codes. So every time you do something, they pull you in a court, they put them little OCGAs, and Georgia's OCGA. I mean, every state has their own. And then they put little codes and numbers and stuff that you so-called have violated. Okay. That's sea jurisdiction. That's why when you go into a courtroom, they have a United States flag that has the gold fringe around it, because it means you've been captured. Okay. Do know that there's the American flag is totally different. It looks similar, but it's different. Okay. When you see the U.S. flag standing by itself without the gold fringe, that means that those are the services, the people that work for us in the federal government. So now let's go to what happened with the shutdown. Okay, let's get an understanding what happened. There wasn't no big fight. All that show. Y'all have to know that everything they do on the TV is a show. That's why they tell it the television. They tell you a vision. Okay, and they want you to be programmed. They're programming you, okay, to do what they want you to do. That's why all of these words, you have to begin to understand that words are actually spells. They really are. Okay, like parent. You thinking that this person is my parent. No, a pair rents their child. That's what that means. Okay, all of this government, it governs your mentality. All of this means something. So you have to know when you're saying a word, what are you really saying? All right. So when the government shut down this week, it was all a stage. And so, but there's truth in it too. Because when Trump is telling you, oh no, by it shutting down, some will have to be fired. He knows they have to be fired because they have no money. They're bankrupt. And the true American government is saying, we're not giving y'all another dime till you get your stuff together. That's literally what's happening right now. Because the World Court said y'all can't change the name not one other time. Like like when I said that. Not one other time. You cannot change that name because they done been everything. They done been U.S.A.Inc. They done been U.S.Inc. They done been the United States of America Inc. They done been the capital, the United States of America. They done changed it 50 billion times. And they said, no more, no more, no more. Y'all are bankrupt. Okay. And so what's happening right now, they don't have any more money. So they're having to stand down. They're having to act right. And you know who's in charge of everything now? Anna. So before Trump does anything, or if they send out a public, because they send out notices too, just like I just read you a notice that they send out. All of these heads of these kingdoms, they send out notices. That's how they communicate with each other. And you can go to their website and pull their communications. You can pull it. Okay, because they don't hide that from you. They don't hide anything. They put it right in your face. They have to put it in your face because it's a voluntary system. Remember, I told you it's voluntary. So when Trump put this out, it went before Anna. She approved it. Okay. Sometimes they slip stuff out without her approval and they have to retract it. So now what is happening? Anna has met with all the top military this week. Okay. For those that know that she actually, okay, so let me get into this part. Okay, let me get in this part and then we're going to do our global bank and then we're out of here because I'm almost done. Okay. For those that don't know, back in 2000, I want to say 2009, 10, somewhere in there, Anna and James, her husband, James did a land patent on their property. So y'all know, once again, you don't have to pay mortgages and all of that stuff. That it's all a fake. Okay, your property is already paid for. And they tell you that in the real estate contract. That's why they put the little couple of sentences in there that says, this contract is binded by a value of $10 in value, which is really, people don't know. If you brought 10 silver coins to a closing and you made the closing attorney take it, you actually own the land because the contract is worthless. It's worth nothing. It's nothing but paper, you guys. It's nothing but paper. Stop paying your property taxes, and I bet you they come get your paper, but they take your land forcibly, and that's what they're going to stop doing. So anyway, they had a land patent on their property, so on and so forth. The de facto in Alaska, in their county where they were, I don't know if they were county boroughs or parishes, but wherever setup they were in, decided that they were going to ignore their land patent and they put their home up for auction in their system. Remember now, it's just paper. But what they do is they send their goons out to enforce it illegally. And they've been doing this for years. That's why so many people's properties have been taken and stolen not truthfully, okay? And illegally. And I know we have helped several people get foreclosures stopped, evictions stopped. I mean, we've done some serious work in that, but it's not widespread. But I'm about to give y'all a real gem, so stick with me. So don't sign off now. This is not the time to sign off, because I'm about to give y'all a for real gem, okay? In fact, you need to tell somebody, get on here right now. You need to call people and say, Dr. Sherry's about to drop something very important. All right. So anyway, they had their land patent. They decided in their system that they were going to put their property up for auction. And this man and his company, LLC, is called Pacific. I want to say Pacific Coast or Pacific something. But I want to say Pacific Coast. That might be wrong. I think it's Pacific Coast. But anyway, they purchased her property, their real estate paperwork years ago. All right. Now, you all know that Anna's husband passed September 1st. Our head of state. Okay. And so that's one thing. Once the head of state passes, there has to be 30 days of mourning before the new head of state comes in. And a new head of state has been named. Okay. So she has talked about that. And so I'll get into that later. But anyway, we're out of the 30 days of mourning now, but we were in the 30 days of mourning and a new head of state has been named. So, but on September 2nd, after his death, mind you now, they knew James was the head of state. Do you know they sent goons out they sent a process server out to evict her off of the property because Pacific Coast had purchased the property years ago and now they were calling it in. Now, when they did some research on this man who owns this company, Pacific Coast, first of all, he was a felon, but some type of way he had purchased a company, or he was aligned with a company that was called Trump LLC. So all that I keep trying to tell y'all, all of these people, they all work together. They all work together. You have to understand this, okay? So anyway, let's fast forward. So they sent a process server the day after her husband passed to evict her. She went into court. She told them to stand down. She told them that if they came to remove her from her property, that it was going to be all hell and an outright war. And they did come that Friday. It was a peaceful transition. They knew that they would possibly try to come and they weren't going to stand down. And now that's why Anna has unleashed on them not like never before. Okay. And so these are the things that are in development right now. So if y'all know, right after that happened, she issued a proclamation, whereas she demanded that the IRS and the Department of Justice close. Okay, that was a proclamation she sent about a week or two ago. Now you can see what she's doing with the defense. You see that she's making the defense get in line and protect what she needs to protect. Now I'm going to tell you what's going to happen now, and what she has already stated is happening. All of those people that came, those police officers, whoever, all those groups of people that came to evict her off her property, she got all of their names. She got the county court's name. She got the judge's name. She got everybody's names. And now she's bringing them into our common law courts to be held for treason. Do y'all know how serious this is? Because our laws are different from their laws. Over on our side, it ain't no slap on the hand and you going to jail for 30 years and all this kind of stuff. No, No, it's much more serious. And some things that you can do will cost you your life. And they will kill you under common law courts. Okay, that's just how serious it is, because I say it again, they expect everybody to do what they're supposed to do. We shouldn't have to live in a space where people don't know how to act. And if you don't know how to act, then you need to make sure you don't leave out your house unless somebody's governing you. It's really just that simple, okay? Because everybody has gone darn buck wild. It is crazy at this point how everyone acts, okay? Act like they have no home training, which we don't, because we have allowed the programming of the television to program our minds and teach us how to behave. And now we have to reel all of that back, because again, when you came out of your mother's womb, you were here knowing right from wrong. Nobody can't tell me that a baby doesn't know right from wrong. The baby can't even talk, and the baby know if I say don't touch that, I mean don't touch it. They know what that means. They know and they'll look back at you and they might try it again because they know that they're doing wrong. A baby knows right from wrong. Okay. So we have to begin to work and live in a mature state. And it's going to take all of us leveling up with our behavior. We all have to here goes somebody. I think they got the name of it. Pacific Rim. Oh, was that the name of the company? Okay, there it is, Pacific Rim. Okay, get them, Anna. Yes, right, Anna got them. So now what she's doing is something called setting precedent. And I've used this in a lot of court cases where I bring in precedent that has already been laid in other places, okay? And what you're saying is that this has already been laid. This is a standing rule that a judge ruled on. And so this is the standing rule right now. And now you have to abide by this standing rule. So what Anna is doing now, she's setting precedent for her case. Now, is she out of her house? She is still out of her house, and she doesn't care. Because what she's doing at this point, she said, it's up to them at this point what happens. Either they stand down and they back off, okay, and they dismiss the case. She said, but she really doesn't want them to do that, because as they keep going, she's able to keep filing things more in her case. Now, we already know what to do. We've already helped people with foreclosures. And I'm going to give you in a minute a case that happened in Minnesota, where, do you know that whole county in Minnesota, that whole county where precedent was set for foreclosures, nobody has to have a mortgage? Do y'all know that? I'm trying to tell y'all we are bad over here. Okay? We are bad over here. And I'm going to give y'all that case in just a second. Okay? So what Anna's doing is that she is setting precedent for anybody who has ever been evicted, anybody who ever has experienced a foreclosure. So as long as the Alaskan courts that she's dealing with keeps going, she's going to keep filing paperwork in her case. Whereas now she's setting precedent where eventually they're going to have to stand down. And everyone who's experienced this anywhere in the nation, anywhere in America, will be able to use her case and now use it in your court case or against your mortgage company and never have to pay a mortgage or never have to deal with an eviction again. Isn't that beautiful? So that is what's happening right now. Now, the name of the court case with the county is called, his name is, where is that? Where did I put it? Hold on, because I'm almost finished all my little notes. Where did I put the man's name? Give me a second. Oh, here it is. It's on the side. Okay, it's a Minnesota court case. Let me see. Somebody put what? Ooh, that's me. Yay. Oh, you're in Minnesota? Okay. All right. So it's a Minnesota court case, and this is a case that's been precedent. But listen, even though it's only for that county, heck, you might want to move to the county. I don't know. But this is where fraud was proven in the county, and all the mortgages, and nobody has a mortgage anymore if you bring forth this, to your courts, and even to the mortgage companies. But it's called the Jerome Daley case. Jerome Daley case. So look that up, start studying that case, because it's probably going to mirror some of the points in the Jerome Daley case from Minnesota. Is probably going to mirror some of the stuff that Anna has done in her case or still is doing. All right. Now let's give an update on our beautiful bank. So for those that are joining for the first time, or you may not have an idea, when I talk about our bank, we have our own bank, you guys. We have our own bank. It's called the Global Bank. You can go to it's global528.com. We've had our own bank since 2013. And then something happened when they were trying to get the bank going, and something major happened and they had to start all over again. So they started all over again, and now we have a bank. So let me explain to you where they are right now with the bank. The bank has 4 different parts to it. And you have to understand, our bank has to work in harmony within itself and with all the external banking systems. All right. It has to work in harmony. Now, we know we got an email this week that broke down everything for us. Y'all, we're going to be able to have, credit, AFD, and I'll explain all that for a minute, vacations, healthcare, everything is under this bank. You will never have to worry about anything. And it's for all 8 billion people of the world. But you have to status correct. You cannot be under the U.S. system, you guys. You can't be property. You have to be a living man or a living woman. It's for the living. When they change you into that birth certificate entity, you immediately turn into a corporation. You immediately turn into a corporation. You are no longer a living being. You are a corporation. Okay? And so that's why we have to correct your status. We have to change you back to who you were born to be. And that's important for you to understand that and to know that. Okay? So with the bank right now where we are, there are 4 different parts. And this is why I wrote this down, because this is important for you to understand. We have the International Trade Bank part of the Global Bank, right? That's the part where our American Federation dollars are. So earlier in this this live, I told you all that we get a deposit every month of $5,280. Now, for those that know, 528 is the vibration of love. This is called Loveonomics. And if you're hearing this and you're like, that sounds cheesy, that's why I'm telling you, you need to work on yourself. Because everything our Creator has given to us was out of a vibration of love. We're not supposed to be sad. We're not supposed to live in a day in and day out state of despair. We're not supposed to work so much that by the weekend we just need to just lay down because we're so tired. You're supposed to have time to spend with your children. You're supposed to have time to go out and get fresh food and not worry about all of the poison that they put in. We're able to we should be able to pick up a piece of fruit with seeds in it and not have to pay more for seeds. All of this is ridiculous at this point. But it goes back into understanding who you are. And it goes back to, again, the vibration of love, the vibration of peace, the vibration of being happy, the vibration of enlightenment. Okay, what makes you happy and peaceful and loving? So this is the premise that all of this was built off of. So again, I wanted to stress that because some listening right now be like, oh, that sounds a little cheesy, because you're not there yet. You're not there, my sister or my brother. And I am telling you, in order to live into this new world that we're moving into, you got to get there. You have to get to an understanding of who you are. And all of this BS that they've created for us is not how we should be living. I'm not working 40 hours a week for anybody but myself. Okay, if I'm tired, I'm going to be tired on my own dime. Not from you telling me that I got to clock in, clock out. I got to get permission to get a vacation. I'm tired. Life is not supposed to be like that. And we have now created a world where it doesn't have to be. And it's up to you to simply just make a choice on what side you want to live on. Okay. So we got this bank, and every month we get $5,280 of American Federation dollars. Google it. It's not a secret. Okay, it's already out there. That is the true money of America. What you have, those Federal Reserve notes, it says it on there, Federal Reserve notes, it's not money. It's monopoly money. It's fake. The only reason it has value because so many people at this point don't know who they are, and they keep putting value on it. But if everybody got on one accord and would stop putting value on the monopoly money, then we could collapse the system just like that. But now we got to go around this other way and do it the other way because we can't get everybody on one accord and understanding who they are. That's really what the problem is. Okay. So we get the American Federation dollar. Now with somebody, while I'm talking about this, tell me what the gold is for today. Okay. Somebody tell me what the gold is. Kelly said, I'm feeling the love. Amen. All right. What is the gold today? All right. All this has been done to us through secret contracts and status quo undoes this mess. That's right. That's right, Harrison. Tell me what the goal is. Somebody tell me what the goal is for today. So how we equate American Federation dollar. Whatever the gold price is today, because that's true money. Remember, back before 1933, our monetary system was based on gold and silver. Some countries, nations in the world still base their monetary system on gold or silver. In fact, I think Saudi Arabia based their monetary system on oil. All right. So you have to know that you want your money backed by something. Federal Reserve notes aren't backed by anything. It is monopoly money. It is worthless. All right. In fact, outside of the United States, they don't even accept the monopoly money. If United States corporation has to pay for something over into another country, they have to pay it in gold or silver. They are not taking the monopoly money. All right. So whenever somebody puts in what the gold is for today, we're going to take 1/10 of that. All right. And when we take 1/10 of that, that is how much one American Federation dollar is worth. So for example, if the gold for today is, and I know it's more than this, but I'm going to say $3,800. I think it's around 3,800. Okay. If an ounce of gold is worth 3,800, one American Federation dollar, just one, is going to be equal to $380 Federal Reserve notes. All right. So I told you that the majority of us are receiving our $5,280 a month American Federation dollars. And so the part of our global bank that deals with the international trading, we're going to be able to take our American Federation dollar and trade it into any currency around the world. And I think it's 184 currencies. It's somewhere between 184 and 200. So I'm just going to say 200, but I think it's around 184. We'll be able to take that AFD and convert it into any currency around the world. All right. So whatever that gold price is, take 1/10 of it. Oh, here we go. Kelly got it. All right. So thank you, Kelly. So what we're going to do is somebody take $5,280, and you're going to multiply it times $389.60. Somebody tell me what that is. And then that will tell you as of today. Wait a minute, we got two different prices here. Is it $39.03? It went up to $3,900? Are y'all kidding me? Gold is now $39. When I first started this, do y'all know gold was $1,800 an ounce? This was just last year. Gold was, do y'all remember that? Who remembers that when gold was like $1,800 an ounce? Who remembers that? That was just like last year when we first started this. And now Kimberly put in that it's 3,900 anywhere, but it's still high 3,800s. That's crazy. But anyway, take $5,280 and multiply it times $389.60, and that will give you how much in fiat United States dollars we get per month. Now, several of us have thousands of dollars of AFDs. So 1 month is over $1.5 million. I don't even know what it is. Okay, but it's way past it. Okay, so I'm trying to show you when you status correct and when you set yourself up, it's a beautiful thing. So our bank, one side of it is the international trading. We'll be able to take our monies and wow, okay, that's what it is. That's what it is per month now. That's how much you'll be receiving in United States dollars. So that's the international trade side. We'll be able to take that. And so if you have a trip over in, I don't know, let's say Japan, you'll be able to take your AFD and convert it over into yen. Okay. And so that's what our international trading side of the bank is. And that side is already done. Okay. The next side is the commercial bank. Okay. Now our commercial bank, remember I told you land to air. That's our jurisdiction. So that's being able to take our monies and use it commercially. So that means anything that we need, any goods, any services we need to pay for, we're able to do it on land jurisdiction. So that means that, like, I have Land and Soil Property Group. So that means I'll be able to accept AFD dollars from anybody who's status corrected, and we can exchange via our banks. Okay, because we both are in land jurisdiction. Now, we also have another side called the Bank of Commerce. That's de facto. That's your Bank of America, your Wells Fargo. These are these people. Okay, all of these people out here, your Home Depots, all of the commercial entities that are falling under that U.S. United States of America. They are called the Bank of Commerce. Okay. Our bank has to have another side to be able to interact with them. So I told you our bank has the international trade side. We have the commerce bank, which is land jurisdiction. And then we have the Bank of Commerce, which is the de facto, the air jurisdiction. But our bank has to be able to communicate with all of those three. And we have one more side called the Prosperity Union, which deals with our credits. Now, they don't put it on the news, but you'll have to research this. If you'll learn, in fact, the St. Germain Trust was all in the news. It may have hit the news last week, but our St. Germain Trust was one of the biggest trusts. So what happens is that when you status correct, and our ancestors, they had no idea that this was happening. Our grandparents, our great grandparents, even some of our parents, they're clueless to what they were raised in. Okay. But all of those that are deceased, and this is one thing about the books, they know the books, you guys, because it's off of that straw man Social Security number. So they know how much money is in your account because they're pulling from the money in your account to pay all of your debts. It's just that they're just making you pay the debts again. Okay. They're just making you pay the debts all over again, and you don't know it's already been paid. So if you don't tell them it's already been paid, you're going to keep paying it. And that's what I'm telling you. When you get into the school, we teach you to tell them it's been paid. We have 9 remedies that we sat and we taught month after month after month after month. Now you got to pay for them remedies. It's $150 to get them videos and the paperwork and all of that, but it's worth it, okay? Because we teach you how to make them stand down, and we give you 9 remedies because sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So you just got to keep trying them until they do, because the de facto are liars. They're liars, okay? So anyway, going back to the Prosperity Union, all of those credits from the Social Security number are now coming back to you. All right. So it's not just yours. So if you're the only status corrected in your family, you'll get all the credits for everybody in your family that has passed on. And it depends on, you know, and there's so many credits, you guys. They said we're going to get so much credit. It's going to be credits that's going into 3 and 4 generations, because it's humanly impossible to spend all of those credits in a lifetime. I mean, how many houses are you going to buy? Okay. How many cars are you going to buy? Do you see what I'm saying? So when you begin to think about the quality of life, the value of life, I mean, do you really need 10 cars? Do you see, sometimes at this point, it gets to make no sense. And that's why when I began learning back from 2009, I didn't even know that we were able to get 1 house and 1 car per year. I didn't even know that. Do you know there's paperwork that people were filling out? You were able to get 1 car and 1 house per year. I know it to be true, though, because I just was messing around and did paperwork to see if we can borrow from ourselves. And we really got checks. I got people that got checks back borrowing from that straw man's trust. Little checks, literally checks, okay, from their IRS account. So it does work. We've done it, okay? So anyway, so now just understanding that there's 4 parts. So you'll be able to get all of those credits back, and you'll be able to use your Prosperity card. So just like you use your phone with Cash App, or you put your little card in from the wallet, you'll be able to do that with your phone and go into any store and just get credits from your Prosperity account. Now, this is the thing. The Prosperity credits are not replenished. Once they're gone, they're gone. They will never be replenished again. So do understand that, because you have to understand these are credits that are coming back to you that was stolen from you and your family members. Okay. All right. So it's important that you understand that the bank has 4 parts. So now where they are right now, they're making sure that those 4 parts of our bank is working in harmony, like with your Bank of America, like with your Wells Fargo. Okay, like if you wanted to convert over to a Japanese bank, okay, they're making sure. And another thing, each state will have their own union to go to be their own global bank subsidiary to go to be able to get your services done. So if you want to get a vacation, you would go through your state to get your vacation. If you need medical services, you'll go through your state to get your medical services. So you don't have to, go over to other states. So each state will have its own services linked, and it's already up on a global bank. That part is already up. So that's where we are right now. Another thing that Anna stressed is that we haven't got a deposit, I think, since July. The deposits are there, you guys. They have the system built out now, where the only thing they have to do is literally turn a switch on, and you'll get all your deposits just like that. So we get the $5,280 every month. And that's why I'm telling you right now, literally, how much money is it going to take you to live off of? Okay. And this is where you got to, again, challenge who you are as a person. I mean, do you really need 10 houses? Okay. Do you really need 10 cars? Okay. So you got to start thinking to the point, because having so much can also be a sin too. Being greedy can also be a sin too. So that's why in our community, we're working to try to help people who aren't where we are now. But before we can help you, you have to make a decision of understanding who you are. And that's the barrier that's hurting a lot of people. They're either afraid or they're too lazy. And that's really what it is. They're afraid, because once you learn this information, you're going to be in 2 categories. Either you're going to be afraid or you're going to be lazy. That's it. And both sides, they just aggravate me. They really aggravate me, because I'm saying, get up and understand who you are. I know I have made it extremely easy for people now. All you have to do is go to the Private Life Show and start at number 1. If you sitting back on Netflix and you aren't that important, then you're not ready for this. You keep being property. Okay, I told you we're done with it. We're done with trying to tell people who they are. I'm done with it because I've been doing it since 2009 and I'm not convincing nobody of anything anymore. Stay who you are because I know who I am. Okay. So now that's where we are right now with the bank. Now, let me see. I got something over here. So Anna has said that the top brass are all aware. Okay. They know the top brass, so that means the Army, everybody's all aware. The Army is now moving into position to, thank you, Audrey. She said, I do every morning. She said she knows who she is. So everything is slowly changing. So as you can see, it started changing. This was a major week right here because when Trump put out that summons, all those generals was called in and they didn't hide it from us. They can't because they work for us. So they said, we can't hide this stuff anymore. All right. So now they're talking. So now what they're going to start doing is they're going to literally start shutting down entire court systems, you guys. So if you know of people who have been treated unfairly in court systems, I'm going to put out there, they're shutting down entire court systems. And these people that have that have lived in a way that is inhumane, that have lied and just been untruthful and hideous in these courts, they are calling them in for treason and they're going to start arresting them. So I am telling you how serious this is. So if you're dealing in the court system and they're misbehaving and they know they haven't done what they're supposed to do, now they're going to be held accountable because the courts now are defending us the way that they should have been from the very beginning. All right. And do understand we are not sovereign citizens. Don't say that. That's what they tried to label us as because they have in their statute and codes that if you are listed as a sovereign citizen, you are an enemy to the United States. That's in their codes. You are foreign to them because they're British. Yes. Y'all are foreign to us and we're foreign to you. Y'all are being ran by King Charles. I already read it to you in Trump's summons. It's in his summons. So yeah, y'all are foreigners. Y'all are foreign to us. Absolutely. Because we are Americans. So when you get your credential card, when you join a global bank, when you status correct, join a global bank, you're going to get your credential cards. You guys, they said credential cards are being accepted everywhere now. I carry mine all the time. I do have a passport as well. Okay. I am trying real hard not to lean so much on that license, but remember, they're still catching up. So don't try these little cops that's pulling you over. If you get a ticket, accept the ticket. You know what to write on it and send it back in within 3 days. Okay. Do you know how many tickets and parking tickets and traffic tickets we have gotten, especially in my mother's household? I just write the stuff on it and we never hear from it again. All right. So especially those in the school, you already know we don't deal with traffic tickets. If a cop pull you over, listen, don't give him no hard time. Accept it. You don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Officer. Go ahead. Stay on your little high horse. I'm going to deal with this by mailing it into the Secretary of State and sending a copy over to your superior court, and it's going to be gone. All right. No biggie anymore. All right. Let's see what's going on. And I think that's all I have for you all today. Use Zelle to donation. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So you guys, this was a long one today, but it was a necessary. What time is it? Oh my God, I gotta go. I love you guys so much. I gotta go like right now.